So let's hit that Cyberpandemic jingle, baby.
Russia. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber pandemic. They all want to shoot her dead.
That was a good one. All right, this is coming from wired.co.uk. The headline is Russia is leaking data like a sieve. You like that, huh?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we're having fun.
Yeah.
And it goes like this. Names, birthdays, passport numbers, job titles. The personal information goes on for pages and looks like any typical data breach. But this data set is very different. It allegedly contains the personal information of 1,600 Russian troops who served in Bucha, a Ukrainian city devastated during Russia's war and the scene of multiple potential war crimes. The data set is not the only one. Another allegedly contains the names and contact details of 620 Russian spies who are registered to work at the Moscow office of the FSB. That's when we say KGB, the FSB is like the modern version of it.
Right.
The country's, just in case anybody didn't know, the country's main security agency. Neither set of information was published by hackers. Instead, they were put online by Ukraine's intelligence services. With all the names.
Is there a difference? At a certain point, there's no difference, right?
Well,
especially
it's
in the
interesting.
US.
It gets into it. Let me finish this paragraph, and then we can kind of explore what this means. With all the names and details freely available to anyone online, quote, every European should know their names, Ukrainian officials wrote in a Facebook post. As they published the data.
What a psyop, man. This is crazy.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So you've basically, and they will bring it up in this article, but I'm trying to keep it efficient here. You have a government
intelligence agency.
Doxing
Russians.
people.
I mean, they're spies. They're soldiers.
Yeah, sure. They're spies,
bad people. They're Putin's pawns, man.
They're the enemy. But still, I mean, in this world where privacy concerns and our data is collected in so many different places, held on so many different databases, so vulnerable to literally anyone who wants to access it. Hackers, of course, have no problem finding all of our personal information and releasing it as a threat and whatever. But for a government to be doxing, over 2,000 individuals, human beings. Now, they may be soldiers, they may be spies, but they are just human beings living in their own country and, working for their country and subject to propaganda. Not that it excuses any war crimes if they are indeed guilty of those. But this is a brand new experience, and it's in the context of war. It's in the context of war fighting. A government is doxing individuals.
And it's interesting too, because the context, the way the Wired here is framing it is like, oh, Russia's leaking this data, when in reality it's not only is it Ukraine, publishing it, doxing these Russians, but also, it's we all leak data like a sieve right now, right? So it's like it's something that's already happening to the general public. So it's just fascinating how they form it in a way in the context of war/cyber war here.
Yeah, I mean, and they posted it on Facebook.
On Facebook, yeah.
On Facebook,
very useful. Facebook.
Government doxed 2,000 people on Facebook. Let me read just a couple more details here for you. Since Russian troops crossed Ukraine's borders at the end of February, colossal amounts of information about the Russian state and its activities have been made public. The data offers unparalleled glimpses into closed-off private institutions, and it may be a goldmine for investigators, from journalists to those tasked with investigating war crimes. Broadly, the data comes in in two flavors: information published proactively by Ukrainian authorities and their allies, and information obtained by hacktivists. Hundreds of gigabytes of files and millions of emails have been made public. So now they're doing something interesting here. They are conflating. They're conflating two things. One of them being like an Excel spreadsheet with the name, phone number, address, passport number of individuals, like an actual doxing of individuals, and, sort of like leaked info from organizations, like a WikiLeaks type thing.
Right.
And they kind of talk about it in the same breath, as if, releasing 1 million emails from a corporation who's committing crimes is the same as, posting personal information about individuals.
Right.
And you have this interesting situation where, in the name of war, in the name of, everything goes, suddenly the line between like inappropriate doxing of human beings and, true sort of like whistleblowing public interest data. There's two different things. But in this case, they're being treated as the same type of information.
Well, it's war, man.
It's war,
Time of war.
That's what it goes into. I'm going to skip down a little bit, and you can hear what they're saying about it. Quote, "When you think about what comes after war, these lists might be a big feature of it," McDonald says. The lists. Ooh, I hate that
the list
word.
war.
It's a list war.
Talk about rumors of wars.
We shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
The lists, if the information they contain is accurate, may provide a starting point for investigators looking into potential war crimes in Ukraine. For instance, a name could be linked to a photo, which is linked to a social media account or footage that places someone in a particular location or event.
Like all social media?
See what they're doing here? They're kind of making it sound harmless.
Right.
At least in this paragraph.
Yeah.
Each piece of information could act as a tiny piece in a much larger puzzles.
Ooh.
Yeah, researchers are already racing to save and archive thousands of TikToks, Telegram messages, and social media posts in formats that can be used as evidence. Ooh. Then they talk a little bit about, they kind of had this interesting paragraph about they have 600 spies, Russian spies on this. But, we probably already knew everything about them. But it's kind of nice to, confirm and corroborate the info you've got. Because that was my thing, was like, you know what? You're really not gaining this information and releasing it to give to, U.S. intelligence or UK intelligence or something, like an official source or an official authority that could do anything about it. They're making it available to everyone.
Yeah, what are they hoping to accomplish here? Do they want some kind of grassroots movement, uprising, hunt down? Like, what do they expect here? Some rogue nationalist or NATOist, loyal NATOist, going after these guys. Let's find out these evil Russian agents. Let's go slaughter them. Like some kind of weird crusade hit list or something.
Right, because exactly the right question. What is the purpose of releasing all these things to the public and not just keeping them within some sort of official
some
capacity?
intelligence,
Because like you said, you are either, and this is why doxing is illegal, is because it puts people directly in danger, whether it's, an ex-girlfriend or something and you dox her online or something, or an investigative journalist investigating whatever. It's a very dangerous thing to do. And so in that way, you're right. It could be looked at as like putting a hit on these people. Because that's why doxing is illegal. It's because it's dangerous. It puts people's lives at risk in a lot of different ways, not just being alive, but the connections with their families and their everything is at risk. And so, but I think the more effective part of this, and what we've seen the sort of allies, the Ukrainian allies do for a while now, is a constant and effective psychological operation against Putin specifically, but playing out on anybody who works for Putin is what puts the pressure on Putin himself. So a lot of it is a very powerful psychological operation, meaning if you are an individual working in the FSB, or you're an individual soldier and you're there just following the orders or whatever, and suddenly you're not just a nameless soldier, you're not just a secret intelligence agent, but you are a person of public interest with your name and everything about you.
In a situation where,
you might be a war criminal
in the eyes of the public, the way you're being painted as horrible people that are killing innocent Ukrainians and children, and it's just the whole deal. So
it's a very effective way to lower morale. I mean, you think of the morale of these soldiers or the spies, where before you were just serving your country and doing your duty, boom, your entire life is out on the internet for anybody to see. Might go a long way to changing your decision making and how far you go in participating in Russia's war.
The virtual panopticon, monitoring your own behavior. That is the ultimate goal here with these people.
Exactly. So, yes. No, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's exactly the articulation of it, which is it's a militarization of the panopticon. Whereas before this, mostly all the data gathering and privacy concerns were sort of profit motive for corporations. But now those data leaks, the privacy concerns, are used as a weapon, not just against you personally, but against your country. It's almost as if you are like a hostage. It's like a hostage situation. Yeah, now, real quick, we can wrap it up. I think we understand the concept here. But we saw that Facebook was used as, a weapon, a battlefield where this PSYOP was perpetrated. Not even just PSYOP, but perhaps, mercenary job application or something.
Yeah.
So Facebook being one of them, you got Zuckerberg now sort of actively involved in putting people's lives in danger, although that's what he does on a daily basis. So, I'm going to read through this.
That's kind of what Facebook was made for, without really giving it away. Yeah.
And it's not just Facebook. Google blocked access to a PDF of Ukraine's alleged lists of Russian troops in Bucha because the file violated its policies against the publication of people's private information. Asked about the decision to block the document, Google declined to comment further.
Oh my God. What if Google runs with the China-Russia alliance, and then all of our Gmail data goes, all of it, Google, everything goes to... And then we're stuck with Bill Gates, because Bill Gates is out there really pumping all of his business, to the whatever foreign countries will buy in, probably for this picking of teams going on for World War III.
And that's what it comes down to.
Can you imagine if we lose Google to China? Oh my gosh, we're done. We're all going to die.
So they not only in this concept of your sort of NBA team picking situation, not only are we splitting up teams by nations and continents even,
more importantly,
we are exactly more importantly, more effectively, and more dangerously for all of us. We are sort of seeing in an unofficial manner the picking of teams by our global lizard corporations who are in certain ways, significantly more powerful and have much more to offer either side of this, new world order 2.0.
Yeah.
So you have Facebook, who has done it multiple times now. They allow hate speech against Russians. Yeah. They allow all sorts of.
It seems to be
stuff.
Yeah.
They just full on just allow doxing of thousands of people.
Man, we're on the wrong team, Basil.
But you have Google coming in.
We're stuck with Zuckerberg.
Google protect. I mean, I don't want to be on either one of their teams.
I don't either, but Google, just geographically where I live, man, you get associated. This is the problem. with living anywhere in the world now.
So
you
who do you choose? You choose Facebook, who's actively promoting hate against Russians, or Google, who's actively protecting Russians from being doxxed. It's just a very interesting time, man. And more than anything, the significance should not be lost on anyone. This is the full-on warfare being played out on these, up until recently, a lot of people considered the power that Google and Facebook had as sort of just like a playful thing to be stressed out about. But you have Google and Facebook actively participating in warfare, in the New World Order 2.0 warfare, which we'll see more of in the future.
You got to keep in mind that the New World Order warfare, World War III here, it's not only technocratic, but more and more the sort of geographical location of each important node soldier in this cyber kind of war, the geographic location is less relevant. So you might have people living in the US that are, we agree with Google, and then by proxy, you're sort of supporting the China-Russia alliance kind of thing within the U.S. and spreading that message and stuff. So it's
made it so much more complicated.
It's way more complicated. The landscape, the battlefield itself is digital. So
yeah. And that's the thing. We used to think of sort of online digital world as a fake world, disconnected from reality. And in this case, these quote unquote fake disconnected spaces are actively playing a hand in geopolitical warfare, possibly World War III, and possibly a nuclear incident. I mean, we don't know yet. We're praying against that. There's no way of really locking that down. But the fact is that they're involving themselves in ways we would have never expected a corporation to do. Well, I won't say that.
Never. But I mean, they're sort of
corporations wouldn't.
They're coming to their own. They're coming of age.
That's true. The power is different though, because you have IBM creating, counting systems for Nazis, and Ford selling vehicles to the Axis powers. That's one thing.
Well, you got like ISIS driving Toyotas and stuff. It's all part of the whole.
But the power, when we talk about the panopticon, the technocracy, all the things, the power that Facebook and Google have it's basically the nuclear bomb of corporations getting involved in war.
Yeah, it's the network effect is what it's called, right? The ability to reach a mass hive of people very quickly.
And control information. I mean, you talk about control of information during war. These guys, again, the nuclear option of information